Reopening the question is key to self-transformation. And what I mean by that is when we all have questions we ask throughout life and we get answers back. And it's changing as you age. You have questions when you're 20, 30, 40, 50, and you were going to fundamentally ask the same questions, but you're going to get different answers. And whether they're answers from you, they're answers from just your actions, trial and error, someone literally telling you, some odd synchronicity that hits you, you're going to get them back. And they're always changing. Like I'm looking at my trash can right now, and I don't really know what's in there. I could go over there and open it, and I could see what's in there. But the trash is going to be different within a week when I throw it out. Maybe I'll have my favorite, sparkling water, Soleil Lemon. Maybe I'll have a couple of those in there. And I'll forget, and I'll be like, what's in the trash can? Something completely new. What I'm saying is that, like, the questions you ask, often the answer you get is not the same. And it's important for self-transformation because oftentimes the question you ask, the answer you receive gets hardened. And as you grow and evolve, you need a different answer. Like I will talk to old people and I'll hear what they have to say. And they're really, they have a different view on life because they're old, they don't have too much time left, but it's really the same thing. It's what's the meaning of life and all that. They're just older. We all have the same, relatively the same questions we're asking. It's different, a little altered as time goes on. Very interesting talking to old people, how similar the thoughts going through their head as ours. What am I gonna do with my life? I'm 60. I don't have too much time left. What am I gonna do? Well, that's what I'm saying. What am I gonna do? What are you gonna do? It's like when society's always reopened the question for a rebirth. Like look at the Renaissance. There was the Dark Ages, then the Renaissance happened. And what was that? That was a rediscovering of classical literature and art and all that. They had a new way of seeing the world. They basically answered the same questions that the ancient people have been asking, people for thousands of years before them asked. They asked it, and they were like, oh, what are we gonna do? They figured out the answer. They had a new way of seeing. I think it was like Leonardo da Vinci and all that. It was all anatomy and stuff like that, like ways to see the human body, things like that. That's, they reopened the question and they got a new answer. If you wanna have a renaissance, remember, you gotta reopen the question. If you're at a phase of your life and you're stuck, think of just a basic question, like, what's the purpose of my life? What are my goals? Do I like where I am? Do I like this person? Do I like the person I'm with? Just open the question, even though you may have closed that question years ago, and ask yourself again. Like do it maybe with your job. Do you like your job? Just ask yourself. Yeah, I like my job. Good, then you're fine. If you don't, maybe change. Reopening the question will lead to a renaissance. It did in Italy, Florence. So yeah, I reopened the question throughout my life, and I've seen things I should change, and I changed them. Other times you just got to deal with it. Sometimes reopening the question is hard because you open it and you get the answer, and you're like, whoa, that's huge. I have to do that, and it's monumental. But would you rather face the answer, or would you rather just be in denial and not even look at it, not even question it? Then when something happens, you're like, how did that happen? A lot of the surprises we get in life and things that just floor us or something hit us out from left field and we're like, how did that happen? Really, if you pay attention to it comes from not reopening a question that was closed years before. If you just question, why is this the way it is? And you see it for what it is, it's like, oh, that makes sense. And when that thing happens, it's like, oh, I understand that. Yeah. So reopening the question is key to self-transformation and even societal transformation. The Renaissance wouldn't have happened if they didn't reopen the question of what it meant to be human. wouldn't have happened. So do you want to see a renaissance within you? Start asking questions that you thought were closed, and you'll get a very interesting set of answers, maybe new answers.